Batman 1966 was once a dazzling universe filled with humorous, charming, and unforgettable faces. But behind Gotham's glow was the darkness of real life. Hidden tragedies, ravaging illnesses, and the heartbreaking deaths of its actors. They once captivated the world in front of the screen, only to vanish later in terrifying silence. What really happened? Join us as we uncover the story behind the scenes. You won't believe it. Let's dive in. Cesar Romero as Joker. At the age of 59, Cesar Romero played the Joker in the 1966 Batman film series, portraying a clown with a cold smile, a distinctive mustache, and an oddly charming madness. But behind the ghostly white makeup and sinister laugh was a man hiding a secret that was never revealed. Cesar Julio Romero Jr. was born on February 15, 1907 in New York, the son of a Cuban importer and an opera singer. Dubbed the Latin lover of the 1930s and 1950s, Hollywood pushed him for romantic and glamorous roles, and he never escaped that label. He remained single all his life and often avoided personal matters. Rumors about his sexual orientation discreetly circulated behind the scenes, but in a conservative and strict time he neither confirmed nor denied them. Behind the glamour hid a lonely heart, crushed by the pressure to always be charming, always attractive and always silent. On January 1, 1994, Cesar Romero died at the age of 86 from complications caused by a blood clot. His net worth was approximately $5 million, but he left behind a rich artistic legacy and secrets that only he could discover. He did not mention his wife or children in his will. He left only charitable contributions and a few works of art. His clowns still make people laugh today, but Romero himself lived with a secret that only the screen can reveal. Adam West as Batman and Bruce Wayne. When Adam West donned the green cape and became Bruce Wayne in the 1966 Batman movie, he was 38 years old. With his direct demeanor, sense of humor, and calm voice, he quickly transformed this colorful version of Batman into a television icon. But behind the title Nightmare was a man who began to crumble under the weight of his own shadow. Born on September 19, 1928 in Walla Walla, Washington, William West Anderson wanted to become a serious actor. But after Batman wrapped in 1968, Hollywood saw only one Batman, portraying him so widely that he was practically kicked out of the industry. As his career waned, West had to appear at conventions and car shows in costume to make ends meet. Something he later admitted was a quiet humiliation. The pressure of oblivion, along with financial difficulties, forced his family to move to Idaho. For years, West struggled with his legendary fame and a dark side the public never saw. On June 9, 2017, Adam West died of leukemia at the age of 88. His net worth is estimated at $8 million, a modest sum for a global icon. But his legacy is priceless, his booming laugh, the voice of Mayor West on Family Guy, and the Batman statue in Los Angeles that bears his name. Burgess Meredith as Penguin. In 1966, at the age of 59, Burgess Meredith became the iconic Penguin in the Batman franchise. With his signature raspy laugh and iconic monocle, Meredith played a hilarious and terrifying criminal. He appeared in 21 Batman movies and one Batman movie, making the Penguin an indelible character in fans' memories. Few, however, know that behind that infamous wah-wah-wah laugh was the silent cry of an artist rejected by the world. Born on November 16, 1907, in Cleveland, Ohio, Meredith was a prominent figure on stage and screen until the political storm of the 1950s engulfed him. Blacklisted by the Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, Meredith was considered a hostile witness, a fatal blow to any actor's career at the time. From starring roles on Broadway to supporting roles in commercials, Meredith was marginalized, struggling to maintain his career. A staunch anti-war advocate and environmental activist, he was further isolated by conservative forces in the entertainment industry. A blow so devastating that he once exclaimed, "I wasn't killed, I was buried alive." Burgess Meredith passed away on September 9, 1997 at the age of 89 after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease and skin cancer. His memory gradually deteriorated, depriving him of his most valuable asset, his ability to play. His net worth is estimated at just over $3 million, but his true worth lies not in his bank account, but in the image of the Penguin bowing with a silver cane in hand and his laughter echoing through popular culture like a sad tune from a rusty music box. Ivonne Craig as Batgirl and Barbara Gordon. At the age of 30, Ivonne Craig made her television debut as Batgirl Barbara Gordon, the first female superhero in the 1967 Batman series. With her striking purple costume, fiery red hair, and indomitable spirit, she made television history portraying a strong, intelligent woman who needed no saving. But behind all the glamour, there was an actress who struggled to attract attention outside of her tight leather jumpsuit. Born May 16, 1937 in Taylorville, Illinois, Ivonne dreamed of a career as a ballerina before Hollywood approached her with a promotion. After playing Batman, she fell into the trap of being typecast. No producer could find anyone but Batgirl. The offers dwindled, and the few roles she was offered were not worthy of her talent. She said the pressure to stay in shape and perform stunts without a stunt double led to injuries and exhaustion. Her personal life was also turbulent. An easy divorce, followed by financial difficulties, forced her to devote herself to real estate. An unexpected turn of events for someone who was once a symbol of female empowerment. On August 17, 2015, Ivonne Craig passed away at the age of 78, after a long battle with breast cancer that spread to her liver. Her net worth is estimated at $1 million, a modest sum considering her cultural influence. Although the film industry has somewhat forgotten her, fans have never forgotten Batgirl, the first woman to drive the Batmobile. Frank Gorchian as Riddler. When Frank Gorchian took on the role of the Riddler in 1966, he was 33 years old, young, bright, and full of energy, just like the character he portrayed. Gorchian redefined the concept of a television villain with his crooked smile, wild gaze, and mischievous laugh. But behind the green tights and question marks, he was haunted by a mystery. How could he escape the Riddler's shadow? Born on April 5, 1933 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Gorchian began his career as a voice actor and comedian. However, after a groundbreaking first season as Batman, he abruptly left the series for the second season due to a salary dispute, which he later admitted was a bitter mistake. Although he returned for the final season, a rift ensued. Gorchian fell deeper into his addiction to smoking, a destructive habit he was never able to shake. The result was lung cancer, COPD, and pneumonia, 3 death sentences he carried with him for the rest of his life. Occasionally he tried his hand at difficult, dramatic theater roles, but the audience only wanted to see the Riddler, which in itself threw him into a multi-year depression. On May 17, 2005, Frank Gorchian died at the age of 72, not long after playing his last role, as if the stage was the only place he could truly live. With a net worth of around $2 million, he makes his mark as an actor torn between the glitz and the trappings of fame. Neil Hamilton as Commissioner Gordon. Neil Hamilton was 67 years old when he played Commissioner Gordon in Batman in 1966. He had a kind face, a warm smile, and eyes that always widened in surprise when he watched the antics of Gotham's supervillains. As the city's police chief, Gordon, played by Hamilton, is not a man with a gun. He's the man with the phone he keeps calling Batman. But behind his screen innocence is a war veteran, a man who lived through the silent film era and witnessed the rise of color television. Born September 9, 1899 in Lynn, Massachusetts, Neil Hamilton was a charming, elegant silent film icon, starring alongside Hollywood's first stars. But then his spotlight faded. After World War II, his career took a dramatic turn. The main roles are gone. Only secondary and sporadic appearances on television remain. Hamilton was penniless, relying on the kindness of friends and modest endorsement deals to survive. In his unpublished memoirs, he described that period as quiet humiliation, while the former star waited for hours and 30 seconds in front of the screen. And then, as if by a strange twist of fate, his oft-mocked role as Commissioner Gordon saved him from ruin. On September 24, 1984, Neil Hamilton died at the age of 85 from complications of asthma, a condition that would debilitate him in later years. His net worth is estimated at $1 million, a modest sum considering a career spanning more than 60 years. And although he was a Hollywood icon from a bygone era, Gordon's name and the look in his eyes when he flashed the bat were what people remembered most. Anne Baxter as Zelda the Great. At age 43, Anne Baxter appeared in the 1966 Batman film series as Zelda the Great, a charming, intelligent, but misguided magician who used her theatrical talents to pull off daring heists. Although she appeared on screen only briefly, Zelda Baxter left a lasting impression, a breath of fresh air among the series' many iconic villains. But behind the veneer and elaborate illusions, Baxter was a woman who once reached the pinnacle of fame, only to fall into a silent and brutal internal struggle. Born May 7, 1923 in Michigan City, Indiana, Anne Baxter was a true star, winning an Oscar for Razor's Edge, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and immortalizing her role as Nefertiti in The Ten Commandments. However, her personal life was in stark contrast to her glamorous image. 2 failed marriages left lasting scars, especially after the death of her second husband, an Australian film producer, in a car accident, lonely and burdened by single motherhood. Baxter struggled with increasing pressure to maintain her movie star image, even as she aged and leading roles came and went. She later struggled with alcoholism, which she described as the only way to relieve her loneliness at night. Addiction gradually ravaged her body and further undermined her already fragile career. On December 12, 1985, Anne Baxter died suddenly of a stroke at the age of 62 while walking in New York. Her net worth is estimated at $3 million, but her film career has far surpassed all estimates. William Doier as the narrator and the Bat Computer. William Doier was not only the producer of the 1966 Batman series, but also the iconic voice of the entire series. A narrator who would quickly shout, "Same time, same channel, Batman," and the voice of the mighty Bat Computer. He was the invisible soul of Gotham, a connecting thread that drew viewers in with his bizarre twists and breathtaking suspense. But it was in the editing room, where his voice echoed week after week, that Doier dealt with the destructive pressures of the entertainment industry. Born on February 13, 1908, in Omaha, Nebraska, Doier entered Hollywood not only with a passion for storytelling, but also as a man of many chances, writer, producer, and director. Batman was a double-edged sword. The first season was a huge success, but by the third season, ratings were falling and pressure from the network was mounting. In one of his rare interviews, he admitted that art and profit are inextricably linked. The tension between creative vision and commercial needs embroiled Doier in internal strife, budget cuts, and blame for the show's problems. Despite being the voice that made Batman a television legend, he was gradually squeezed out of the story, becoming the forgotten narrator in his own script. William Doier died of a stroke on April 23, 1991 at the age of 83. While his death was not unexpected, it marked a peaceful end for the man who once lit up Gotham City. His net worth is estimated at $2 million, primarily from film productions rather than acting. Cliff Robertson as Shame. Cliff Robertson played Shame in the 1966 Batman comic series. At the age of 43, he played a funny and dangerous cowboy villain. With his penetrating gaze and Oscar-winning charisma, Robertson has made Shame one of the most recognizable characters in the franchise's diverse cast of villains. But in real life, he fought forces far more formidable than any of Gotham's villains. Born on September 9, 1923 in La Jolla, California, Cliff Robertson is recognized as one of the greatest talents in American cinema. But in 1977, when he exposed a forged signature scandal in which a Columbia Pictures executive had stolen his salary, he received no thanks. He was punished. Hollywood turned its back on him. Robertson was sidelined from several major projects and relegated to supporting roles, where he had virtually no screen presence. "I told the truth and I was kicked out of the party," he once bitterly said in an interview. His personal life was not much better. His divorce from Dinah Merrill compounded his grief, and the reputation he had once been proud of became a burden. Cliff Robertson died of natural causes on September 10, 2011, just a day after his 88th birthday. His net worth is estimated at $5 million. Although his role in Batman in Trouble is only a small part of his vast career, it reflects Cliff's character, always springing into action, whether with a toy gun or the truth. Heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they are the ones who simply speak up when everyone else is silent. Alan Napier as Alfred Pennyworth. Alan Napier was 63 years old when he played Alfred Pennyworth in Batman 1966. With an elegant British accent and aristocratic bearing, Napier portrayed the loyal and gentlemanly Alfred, possessing a depth of emotion rarely seen in Butler. But for him, this role, like many others, was just a peaceful stop on a journey that lasted almost 5 decades without significant roles. Born on January 7, 1903 in Kings Norton, Worcestershire, England, Alan studied with J.R.R. Tolkien and achieved success on the English stage before moving to the United States. But the American dream was no fairy tale. He once admitted that he was too tall, too far from Hollywood standards. At over 6 feet tall, he was often portrayed as a villain or an eccentric. Although in reality he was a calm, gentle man, his portrayal of Alfred brought him belated acclaim. But it didn't erase the feeling that Hollywood had abandoned him, a talented craftsman forever relegated to the background. On August 8, 1988, Alan Napier died of a stroke at the age of 85, ending a career characterized by quiet dedication rather than thunderous approval. His net worth is estimated at $1.5 million, mostly from television. He didn't win an Oscar or any major awards, just an old photo of Alfred next to the bat phone. To his supporters, Napier was more than just a servant. It is the quiet heart of the Batcave. Madge Blake as Aunt Harriet Cooper. In 1966, when Madge Blake was 67, she appeared in the Batman series as Aunt Harriet Cooper, the only female resident of Wayne Manor, bringing warmth, humor, and a sense of family to a world full of superheroes and eccentric villains. But just 3 years after her first appearance, Madge Blake's name is back in the headlines. This time not because of her role, but because of her sudden death that shocked fans. Born on May 31, 1899, in Kinsley, Kansas, Madge Blake began her life not in the limelight, but in a much more hostile environment facing the atomic bomb. During World War II, She worked on the Manhattan Project, America's nuclear weapons research initiative, in a place she once described as eerily quiet and difficult. The pressure, secrecy, and fear of those years left invisible scars on her body. It was only after the war that she started her acting career, a dream that came to her late in life and which she pursued with determination. However, in her later years, her health took a sudden turn for the worse. Although she continued to shine with her Aunt Harriet smile on screen, co-stars later recalled that she often left the set coughing, but always managed to finish each scene. On February 19, 1969, Madge Blake died of a heart attack at the age of 69. Her death came so suddenly, so soon after the end of the movie, that the Batman cast didn't have time to say goodbye. At the time of her death, her net worth was estimated at just $300,000. But she left an irreplaceable image in the hearts of the public. A lone woman in the Batcave, who needs no guns, just a heart. Stafford Rep as Sheriff OHara. At the age of 48, Stafford Rep entered the Batman universe in 1966 as Sheriff OHara, a bumbling cop who wore an Irish cap and spoke with a distinctive, jokey accent. Like Sheriff Gordon, OHara's interpretation of Rap brought laughs and levity to every episode, despite always being late and going in the wrong direction. But what the public didn't know is that behind this humor hides a man who silently carries the burden of acting and a broken heart. Born April 26, 1918, in San Francisco, California, Stafford Rep served in the United States Air Force, a chapter of his life he rarely spoke of, as if it were a painful memory he had buried. When he started acting, he never really stood out, nor was he considered a joker or an indispensable supporting actor. But the pressure to be cheerful and playful all the time gradually eroded his spirit. Rep once confided in a friend that he was tired of smiling while his heart was screaming in his chest. Smoking and sedatives finally pushed him over the edge. He suffered a heart attack while still on the set of the series, which led to an abrupt and heartbreaking ending, like a scene cut too soon. On November 5, 1974, Stafford Rep died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 56, shocking his colleagues and fans. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $500,000. But for those who saw him enter the screen with a bat and a shy smile, Sheriff OHara remains an irreplaceable part of childhood memories, a reminder that sometimes the most insignificant characters leave the deepest impressions.